Let's talk about the Asset Tokenization Studio before we wrap up the show. Massive shout out to anybody still watching. So Hedera announced the Asset Tokenization Studio. And this is again, something pretty big. Like we talked about at the top of the show, we did have the Hedera Stablecoin Studio, right? Which was announced last year. We talked about it extensively on the show, and we didn't quite know whether it was being used. Now we saw the news about the Australian digital dollar as one of the first products leveraging the Stablecoin Studio. And now what we've got the Asset Tokenization Studio. So another, we'll call it studio class product or tool set from Hedera for bonds and equities, right? And securities, different stuff like that. So this is a new tool set. This is in partnership with the HBAR Foundation, Hashgraph, Red Swan, and IO Builders. Red Swan, as we know, is doing real estate tokenization on Hedera. I think they're going to be having a portfolio of like billions of dollars, $5-10 billion or something like that, which is really, really great. But why did Hedera develop and launch and announce the Asset Tokenization Studio? So in a recent EY Parthenon survey, it indicates a transformative trend in asset management. 50% of institutional investors are interested in tokenized assets, and 44% of asset managers plan to tokenize their own assets soon. We already saw this again with RCAX tokenizing BlackRock money market funds and Aberdeen tokenizing their money market funds on Hedera through RCAX. And this includes high net worth individuals. 77% have invested in, plan to invest in, or want to learn about tokenized assets, attracted by benefits like lower transaction costs, enhanced liquidity, improved performance, and increased transparency through blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. And just to touch on that, what we're talking about is a money market fund being utilized as some kind of like yield earning stable coin that you can swap and saucer swap. Like we're talking about some pretty far out stuff that's pretty exciting. Now, that's one thing. There's a quote here as well that I wanted to just highlight from the CEO and founder of Red Swan. Again, when we talk about projects that are tokenizing real world assets on Hedera, this is something focused on real estate. So CEO Ed of Red Swan says, the Asset Tokenization Studio is the result of months of development, fine-tuning, and critical examination of existing hindrances to commercial tokenized real-world asset adoption, such as the limitations with ERC 1400. Each aspect of this toolkit has been built with the modern user in mind, providing a seamless point of entry into the tokenized market with forward compliance at its core. And that's a really key aspect of this too. I think that one of the members of the initiative, IO Builders, I think they, from what I can recall, they were part of that initial ERC 1400 standard. So that's very interesting. Another part to this too, that's very important when we talk about bonds and equities, is the Hedera Asset Tokenization Studio leverages the network's features to address compliance, security, and regulatory requirements needed by users, and users, of course, being issuers of these bonds and equities. So with native KYC and AML account flags, high customizability, and the key thing here is built-in support for the US SEC regulations D and S, the studio provides the programmability that's needed for stuff like this. And again, similar to the Stablecoin Studio, this is something that is designed to be kind of like the Mac in the PC world, right? It's the plug and play thing. It's an offering from Hedera to the traditional finance world to provide a platform where they can easily get this stuff on chain, on graph, which I think is really important. And just to check this out really quick, when we look at the actual page for the Asset Tokenization Studio, pretty cool product page. They got a video there, but it highlights some of the different things, right? We were talking about simplifying the tokenization process, how it handles regulations, with the different ones specified here. Some of the benefits of it, the folks involved, of course, and some of the folks, some of the organizations that are issuing securities on real world tokenized assets on Hedera. Going down here, a bunch of different features, right? This one here is the most important, the life cycle of the asset. So when we talk about, for sure, we create the bond or equity on a network like Hedera, but then we talk about how does it move through markets? How does it change custody? How is it bought and sold? How is it modified? All these different types of things. All of that stuff happening on chain is really going to be critical. And the other aspect to this that's touched on a little bit is just accepting that the regulations, the rules are constantly changing. So this isn't like a product that is complete out of the box yet, because Hedera knows that a lot of these different regulations, rules, parameters are going to continue to evolve and change. So I think this is also a product designed to evolve and change. And it, of course, it also features the production grade SDK, audited smart contracts. It's open source. It's built on the ERC 1400 standard. So pretty robust. And there is in the documentation, I can't really zoom in on this. God, GitHub book or whatever this is like when I zoom. Oh, there we go. There we go. So look at this. This is what it actually looks like. So you go in, you connect your wallet, maybe it's MetaMask or Hashpack or whatever it is. Then you have this hosted dashboard where you can create new digital securities, new bonds, new equities, and you can go through these different processes, fill out all this information, right? This is a user-friendly platform, right? Even though this is some real deep developer stuff, similar to the Stablecoin Studio, this is a product, an application that's meant to be used by finance people, right? You don't necessarily need to be a developer to issue these types of assets on the network. And I'm just scrolling through this documentation just because seeing these screens, it kind of starts to connect those dots in your brain, especially for the non-developer crowd out there. This is something that's really, really interesting. So this is a great resource. The documentation, even though it might be a little focused on developers, if you're curious about how this works, this is a really great, again, peek behind the curtain of how this actually works, what it looks like to use it. And if you're even more curious, on the actual page, on the Hedera page, the Asset Tokenization Studio page, there is an interactive sandbox. You click that, and you're brought into the test area for this. You can actually go in and start going through a demo of what it is actually like issuing bonds and equities on the Hedera network. So very, very, very cool stuff. And like I said, I'm looking forward to having some folks on, maybe Patches too, to talk about this product and kind of what it can mean for the ecosystem and for real world assets as we kind of see that continue to evolve. So we're going to definitely talk about that more on the show, but I just wanted to highlight it today just because, again, Monday was a